Hi, this is Haley Thomas with PetroSkills, and I'm here with instructor Pete Luan, and we're going to discuss risk management for upstream capital projects. Pete, how many days is this course, and in what locations is it usually taught?
Yes, the very first session for this new course will be in fourth quarter 2014, and it's going to be held in Houston.
Great. What are some of the topics that are covered in this course?
In addition to the classical things around risk management like risk identification, risk analysis, risk treatment, and risk monitoring control, some of the things that we focus on why in the past the way people typically manage risk on a capital project as to why those things don't work and what we need to do differently to get them to work. And in particular, this course is focused on a project engineer, project manager, or someone that works. So we talk a lot about how to treat risk, how to come up with really robust mitigation and contingency plans, and plans that really work and that are fully funded, that are resourced, and become a part of the overall project plan. We also talk about the acceptance of risk at a very senior management level. We also talk about the fact that if you look at a lot of risk registers, which is fine, there isn't anything wrong with that, and a lot of those are technical risks, but if you actually look at the data, very few projects fail because of technical risks. They fail for a whole variety of other reasons, but they don't. So one of the things that we really key on is that we ask the attendees is to really focus on those critical 5 or 10 risks, those critical few risks that will really make the difference between success and failure. And those are the risks where we spend all of our attention. The other part of the course that is really interesting and which is very, very timely is that of probabilistic risk analysis. And all that that means is that we live in a probabilistic world as opposed to deterministic world. So there's never one date or one cost figure that we're going to make. There's a whole continuum. So the approach that we take is that, all right, go ahead and come up with a probabilistic cost estimate, but what's the range of those numbers and how to do the analysis and why it's so important to do the analysis to really pick a contingency and a final number that you go forward with for sanctions. So we talk about why that's so important. We also talk about why it's so important to properly do a cost and schedule risk analysis. And one of the things we talk about in the session is we don't want you to try this at home. Get somebody that does this and it's one of their core competencies. Further, we talk about why there's so many issues and why it's so easy to do this wrong, and you're better off in that case not even doing the probabilistic analysis. So those are some of the things that we talk about.
Okay, great. Of those topics, is there anything that is a surprise to participants or will be a surprise to participants?
Yeah, I think one of the things that comes out, that really comes out in the session, well, there are a couple of things. One is that when they do this probabilistic cost and schedule, how oftentimes that the answer they get is not what they expected at all. Another one of the things that we see a lot is that the deterministic number that people come up with, that they go forward with sanction, is not anywhere close to being achievable. Nowhere close. And that's why most projects, if you look at the data, most projects overrun and they're late, or both.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One last question.
Sure.
As a project management professional, why would I take this course and how would it help me further my career?
I think probably the main thing is that it puts risk in the proper context of what's the best way to manage it, how to get senior management involved in helping you manage risk, because there are some risks there's no way the project team can manage them. A lot of projects fail because of risk, and that's one item. The other thing is what project managers are always evaluated on is cost and schedule. So one of the things we talk about, and I discussed it earlier, is how to make sure you have a good handle on robustly communicate that to senior management so that at the end of the day, they fully understand all of the risks. And if it doesn't work out, then they understand why it didn't work out.
All right, thank you, Pete.
You're welcome. You're welcome.